Right?
Kinesthetic.
Kinesthetic.
So
the stress is on this syllable, right? Kinesthetic.
So I think there are two reasons. First, the kinesthetic. You
Okay.
have to write down, kind of get the feeling.
Okay.
And then second is the, learning a language is required a lot of core skill, right? Learning, speaking, writing, listening. Right? So this is like learning, right? Actually learn. So it's like mine.
Okay, that's a good reason. Okay. How would you work with the floor?
For example, if they write, they can write a language letter really good in the word, and when they write the IPA, they can, okay, first, they can practice at home if they forget the way to pronounce. And second, it's in the way of visualize the sound.
Okay. And why do you only write the vowel sounds of the IPA? You don't usually, in your lesson, you didn't transcribe just the...
As you can see, that we have to speak, we have to write at the same time, and we have like 5 words, we have like 35 words. This is impossible if you write an IPS though.
It takes too much time.
It takes too much time.
The reason for us to write only the vowel, because one word is different from another word just because of the vowel. But some words, they have different consonants. So the strange consonant will be right more.
Oh, okay. So you're just drawing attention to those sounds that cause more difficulty.
The consonants. Okay. The consonants are somewhat the same from Vietnamese English. So we just don't have the word her or the consonant in the end.
Okay.
That's it. Okay, but the over there is the same.
And it's similar to spelling too. So
that's why we have much more.
If there are some differences, we can write.
For example, the sound, the CH can be pronounced in 3 different ways. Some and sure and sure. So when it happens, we just notice on the CH sound.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I think it's nice to kind of like take a step back and analyze what is it that we do. So this is the method that we have. These are the steps that we follow. Well, now you can understand a little bit of why, right? Being a critical thinker, it's very important to always ask questions why. Okay, this is the recipe I follow, but why do I follow it? What's the logic behind the sequence? What's the reason for it? When you understand the reason behind it, it becomes even richer, right? So you can understand the motives.
And I think very quick, I think I like the idea of having the student write down because it's how the student learn. They also give the teacher time to breathe. And we need that those time.
Yeah.
If you have to talk like 60 minutes without stop,
When Long taught his class, everybody said, "Don't you get tired?" Because yours was really active, and I think that as we said that through the history of the methods, each and every method has its pros and cons, and we've kind of picked and chosen the best things from each method that we still use nowadays. And so some methods are good for some people, and other methods are good for other people. And I personally, as a student, get kind of tired with this method too. Let's be quiet for a little while. I just need to think. Yeah, maybe 45-minute lesson is enough. I couldn't sit there for an hour and a half and listen to this tap, tap, tap. It makes me nervous.
So the first way the teachers come to class, the teachers just say, all right, today we are going to learn 35 words, 35 nouns or something like that.
Yeah.
And then the whole class will begin to read the words. And of course, the student will feel very tired, the teacher will feel very tired. So that's the time for the students to write down words, and the teachers will go to individual to help them to read some words over there, of course, the typical words, and that's the way that the teachers can help the students correct the pronunciation.
Okay, that's nice.
In the step of the lesson.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So yesterday I read chapter 11, not just have a look at chapter 11, and I see the gestures method, right? And that is what we also use in the difference created by Dr. Lee, and we use a gesture to help the students remember.
I think that's in chapter 12, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is the gesture relating to the TPD,
TPR.
TPR concept, right? Is it?
Yeah,
That's
sure.
what I'm thinking.
Kind of. It can be TPR, and it can also be kind of kinesthetic too. It's also visual, right? So it gives people a visual anchor to the word. TPR is usually when we get the students to make the movement, right? So usually we're talking about the teachers, but some of the activities you've done, the student makes the movement to give the cue. So that happens too. You were going to say something?
Number 5, yes, no. Do you have any?
Reply.
Speed.
Yeah, what is that?
Speed.
Theory out of mind.
I don't know.
Where is it?
Okay, we're talking about
Okay, because, I'm sorry, there's one step in our method, I'm not really sure what theory I would apply. For example, we say itchy, right? Itchy and adorable. But then say, if I say this, itchy, no sir. Itchy, no sir. Itchy, yes sir. So,
Well, it's the same. You're still using like some kind of visual cue, but you're making them think about it, right? So you're using a different cue.
TPR.
Yeah. Well, I would say that it's more using visual information for teaching. It becomes TPR if the students do it, right? Just the teacher modeling the behavior is not really TPR. TPR is the student needs to move because they're making an association between that movement and the vocabulary. That's the anchor in their mind, right? But when the teacher is doing it, it's because it's a visual input that they're receiving. And they're making the connection between the vocabulary word and that visual input. Okay? So even though you're mixing it up like a game, it's because you're getting their cognitive involvement, so they have to stop and think about it. You were going to say something?
I forget.
Okay, sorry. All right. Good progression to explaining the vocab word. Make sure that different people get a chance to explain the vocab. I don't remember exactly what that was about, but I think that you kind of concentrated on some people and let them give the definition. It's really nice if you give more people an opportunity to speak. Okay, so we've talked a lot about group work and pair work today, and you did a competition where you had like Team A and Team B. I think that it's important, two things with games and with teamwork. One is that when you take time out of your class to arrange people in groups, it's very important to give them an opportunity to speak together. There has to be a reason for everything that we do in the classroom. If you take the time to have people move just to shout out together, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's really nice if you can give them a moment. Okay, talk amongst yourselves, and then you guys decide what is the answer that you're going to shout out. Because you give them a chance for conversation, for speaking, and that's the reason for being in the group together. Right? We can do games every once in a while where it's like A against B or girls against boys or something like that, where they shout out. But in general, when we group people, we want them to have an opportunity to speak. So, and then the other thing with points that a lot of people have done is that, you know, like, okay, yeah, you get plus points or something if you do something right. It's really nice if the points are meaningful for something, right? It's like, okay, yeah, we can mark it on the board, but they kind of lose investment in that in a while. Yeah, so that was really nice because you made it meaningful, right? So after a while, they realize, the points. Sometimes groups are very competitive and they want to win, so they don't care. They still want to do it. But I think it's nice when the points are useful for something.
So what do you say, you should have some reward system?
Maybe. I mean, if you notice that the students are getting bored by giving them points that don't mean anything, maybe you need to give them some kind of a reward or something for having the points. Or even like the person who wins, then they get a chance to come up to the front and tell a story or get an applause. They don't like that.
When you started that, no, we will lose it.
Then they'll lose on purpose.
I'm just thinking maybe, okay, if you win a winning team, maybe you will have to do homework less.
Yeah, something like that, right? Yeah, something like that.
Really hard to do the test.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody in one of their classes, they had some tickets that they were giving to students. Who was that? I don't remember. That was you? So what was the purpose of these tickets? I meant to ask.
Reward tickets.
And what do they do with them?
Right, they can put in the box.
Okay.
And at the school on Monday morning, they will be picked.
Oh.
They join the raffle tickets.
Okay.
And get rewards from the school.
Oh, great.
You know what? To get one.
Excuse me?
Toys or many things.
In my class, okay, yesterday I forgot the points, okay, the plus. When student can raise their voice, okay, and give me the correct answer and get the plus, okay, 10 plus means 1% for the next assignment.
Oh.
And every week, okay, they have to take 1 assignment or 2 assignments.
I see.
Yeah, so they are
Okay.
very excited.
I see.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So that's what I'm saying is that they should be meaningful in some way. Less homework, or you get some kind of prize, or you,
Some percent.
yeah, some percentage. It has to have some meaning, just like putting students into groups has to have some purpose. Giving them points has to have some purpose. To be meaningful, of course, right? So I really liked how at the end of the lesson then you gave the explanation of what you did and you tied it into the theory. That was really nice. That helps us to remember the purpose of why we're doing these demonstration lessons. And on your sample words at the beginning, would they know the meaning of gorgeous?
No,
No.
no way. I put it out on purpose.
Because it was more difficult, right?
So I go
Because
from,
you wanted to show you were going to go from easy words to more difficult words.
yeah, just like that's the demo, but in an actual class environment, I would put around 10. So maybe the first one, I always say top, insert one vowel. Second one, 2, middle, and I and the E. And the third one is three vowels. And we just increase the difficulty from slowly, naturally. And it's about, let's just say about 10 examples.
Okay. I understand the logic. The reason for it was to show them that you were going from easy adjectives to more difficult adjectives. So look, now we're going to do some hard ones. But maybe you could have at least given them the meaning of gorgeous, right? Because it's like, once again, what's the purpose, right? So yeah, it's a big word, but I don't know what it means. Okay, good job. And then, shall we talk about yours? Okay, so I really liked at the beginning how you had people close their eyes and think about going to a beach and what that would be like. So it starts to generate vocabulary and they get in the mood and start thinking about it. But I think maybe, I understand you were really in a hurry to finish in 15 minutes, but ideally in the lesson, I would give them more time with that. Like maybe you can even do kind of like a guided meditation. It's like, okay, close your eyes, imagine the warm sun on your skin.
You don't touch the person next to you.
And you can hear the waves crashing on the shore, and you can smell the salt air from the sea. You know, it's really nice to get them really involved in it. So it was a good opportunity. Sometimes we have some good ideas that we don't explore well enough, right? So we could have explored that more, I think.
We can also turn on some music.
Sure, sure.
Do you think that if they close their eyes,
But we
they
have the
music?
phone. Music's
Yeah,
on your phone.
yeah, on your
The
phone.
sound of the waves.
Do you think that when you close your eyes and the music, they will put them to sleep?
But just real quick, just 1 minute,
But
right?
the problem is when it was my wisdom answers.
Yeah.
My imagination is
With the
not good.
No, yeah.
So when you close your eyes, you will see.
Yeah, but the idea gets stuck in
You
there.
cannot imagine with music.
Because of the music?
No, I don't mean that.
Just because your eyes are closed? What's the problem?
I mean,
What interferes with your imagination?
I don't know. It's mean, when you set the setting like that, close your eye, feeling the waves, the sounds of the air,
You can't imagine it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, as we said, everybody's different, right? We have some people who are kinesthetic, some people who are visual. That will appeal to some learners very much.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not something you're going to do every day. So we want to change the variety of techniques that we use so that we can eventually appeal to all of our students, right? We have a tendency to teach using our own preferred style because I just assume that other people learn in the same way that I do. It's very hard for me to know how it feels inside your skin, right? Because you learn in a completely different way. But if I'm conscious as a teacher and I really try to use different styles, then I can appeal to everybody. So I really like the stick figures and how you drew the picture. You have the talent for that. That was a good job. That was interesting. You had a nice progression, how you went from brainstorming the vocabulary and during drawing the stick pictures to the scrambled words, and then you went to IPA, and then you went to eliciting the verbs, right? So you had like go diving and parachuting. I thought that was going to be the objective of the lesson actually. I thought you were going to do go plus ing to talk about these different verbs and things that you can do. Also, I know that you were pressed for time and other students asked you about this at the end, but it would have been nice if maybe you wrote some sample sentences on the board, because you worked a lot with individual vocabulary, so you got the nouns and you got the verbs, but then students didn't get an opportunity to put them together into sentences. You jumped right to the homework of write a paragraph, right? So it would have been nice to give us some chance, to write sentences. Either you model it on the board, give them a chance to speak and say a few, and then give them the homework of putting it together into a paragraph. Okay? And that's it. And then let's see. Our last one, Jessie. So, Jessie, so you also have a really nice classroom presence. You seem really friendly and really happy. It's like, it keeps my attention. It would be, I think, nice to learn with you. I think there's a good environment. I really like how you brought in the realia, how you brought in the jump ropes. And anytime you can bring in some kind of object, right, it makes it interesting. Really nice handouts, really well done, really pretty, right? The aesthetic value of your materials is important, right? If they look really sloppy and not well produced, it's not nice. So, some really nice handouts. The slides were also really nice and clear. It was nice how you reviewed the rules at the very beginning. You said, okay, so what are the rules in the classroom? What do we do? 1, 2, 3. So it keeps everybody conscious of what are the classroom rules. We talked yesterday a little bit about classroom management, and that's a really good way to do it, is like keep everybody conscious of what the rules are in the classroom. So, we all know how we need to behave in here. That's nice. So once again, it's nice when the points are actually useful for something, so then they're going to be able to go shopping later. And it was really nice to see a vocabulary lesson that was tied into a reading. A lot of the vocabulary lessons that we've seen have been, just a slice, but we didn't see the connection and how it then led into the writing assignments later or the reading assignments. So it was a really good warm-up for the reading that they will have to do. So it was nice to be able to see the book and the connection. It was a real meaningful lesson. So when somebody, I think it was Betty, when she gave you the meaning of, she said when she knew that identical means exactly alike. And so it was really nice how you elicited from her. How did you know? Oh, well, it was from or. And you have or. Yeah. So that was good rather than giving it to her to get it from the student, elicit that. And then it was also nice how when you asked her, you said, I have sisters that are identical twins, but they're not the same. So rather than answering the question for her, you then turned it to the class. Okay, well, who can answer that for her, right? So you're there as a facilitator. You're managing the dialogue, managing the conversation, and deflecting it. So rather than answering it, you gave the class an opportunity to answer it. That was really nice. I didn't understand what students were doing when they had to write. I missed the instructions. I didn't hear it. So what were you guys writing? You were writing the definition of the words? So for some reason I missed it, which happens, right? So students, not everybody necessarily gets the instructions. Somehow we need to make sure that everybody knows what they need to do, right? Oh. Okay, all right. So they already know what's expected of them. Okay. A lot of times I miss instructions here because it's already part of the sequence or something. I don't know what's going on. So you gave a really good example of the word in unison when you said about the national anthem. We all sing together in unison. That was a great example. You did a good job of eliciting the meaning of recite from the class. And someone said baseball court. And I think maybe you could have used that as an opportunity to try and elicit field. Maybe somebody would have known instead of giving it to them. We always want to try and ask first, right? Of course there are time constraints, sometimes we don't have enough time, but whenever we can. And then do students here understand feet? When you say that the bases are 90 feet apart? In the American program they do, otherwise they wouldn't, right? So in other classes you would need to explain that it was like meters or something, right? So they would understand what feet are. So it was good how one student noticed and said in unison. They said, oh, it's in unison. I think you needed to take a little bit more advantage of that opportunity and say, yes, we do something together in unison, and kind of draw attention that yes, we need that preposition, that combination. And then the video at the end was really cute too. That was nice visual support. Okay, so I'm done with that. So do you guys want to take a little break and then we'll, yay, the best time of the day. And then we'll talk about
I like your
CLA 1.